Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to take these boots and turn them into platform shoes right here on the Evil Ted channel. Okay, well first of all, we're definitely going to need some boots. When we're doing boots with platforms, I like to have them lace up. These are like military boots. You can use combat boots or like the tennis shoe boots, but you want ankle support for these because when you're doing platforms, you want to have them tighter on your ankles because if you're up too high, you can twist, and good recipe to twist your ankle. So whatever you're going to get, you make sure you get ankle support. You don't want to do it on like tennis shoes or low profile shoes or slippers because there's not much ankle support. So if you kind of slip or take a little side step and your ankle is a twist, you can twist your ankle. So you want to definitely have that ankle support. So thus we have these tennis shoe combat boots we got online. You're going to definitely need those. You're going to need some lumber. I have this as a piece of scrap wood. I was making shelves and some wood left over. You get that. You need a trusty screw gun. You're going to need a drywall screws, short drywall screws, and long drywall screws. And you're definitely going to need washers. With the washers, you want to make sure that the drywall screws fit through them, but not all the way through, because you're going to need a little washer to go these screws, which I'll explain later. And good old wood glue, because screws are good, but glue is also better. So a little combination of screws and wood glue, so it's super strong. All right, let's start making them. I have my boot, and what I did was I traced it to make a pattern. So right here, I took a poster board, and I literally traced the foot. So this side was the left, and you can flip this over and make it the right. So I make sure I had a pattern. I took the pattern. As you can see, I traced this onto my lumber. See? And you're going to do two for each foot. You're going to do two pieces of wood. So this is the left foot, right? It's going to be the top, and it's the bottom. And I flip it over for the right. So I'm going to make the right, and also the right. So you're going to need two pieces of wood for your shoes, so top and bottom. So trace those out onto your wood, and if you have a bandsaw, you can do that, but I don't have a really strong enough bandsaw to work. So what I've got is my my trusty jigsaw. So I'm going to cut these guys out with the jigsaw. Okay, got them all cut. This is my right and my left, and as you can see, I got two of these. Two for each, two left and two rights. The reason I cut them separately, what we're going to do is I have a piece of wood I'm going to put between them. And depending on the height, for these particular shoes I'm going to do, I want to do them at okay, as I see, for the height, I've estimated I want to do 6 inches. So I have a piece of lumber, and what I did was I measured the distance so it runs from front to back. As you can see right here, that's the exact width of the shoe just for structural support. And my plan, I realized I don't want to go, I made this height, this is about 6 inches tall. Now you can go taller, but I wouldn't recommend, because these are shoes. You can go crazy with them, but I always find the taller you are, the more recipes for disaster. So now I have my left, this is my wood, and that's my height right there. What we're going to do is I'm going to make sure this is dead center. See? So when you make sure you line this all up, make sure it's center. And you take my pencil and you draw your lines. Because this is where we're going to screw these guys in. Alright. Alright, now I have them traced. You see my lines. What I'm going to do is take the trusty drill. And what I have to do is I have to drill in these guys so you can see right where the lines are. I want to drill right here. But the trick is I need to countersink these screw here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill just a little bit on this side. But not all the way through, just right here. Right where the board's going to be. Oops. block. Right. This one too. Go back. Now, this has a countersink on it. This little bevel here. So I'm going to take these guys, flip them upside down because I want to countersink my screw. Make some countersinks of it. Right, have my holes ready to go. So I take my wood glue. See, I got my lines right there. I take my wood glue. Stuff there. A little bead of wood glue on that. Line that sucker up like so. There we go. Okay, so now we got this lined up. I got the glue on here. Put this upside down like so. See, and you see the countersinks? Now you'll watch this. Take my screw, line it up. There you go. And this guy right back here. If you notice, with the countersink, the screws don't stick out. Nice and flush. That's why you want to countersink them. Now, do the other side. That is my left, so right here. Okay, this is my bottom, this is my top. As you can see, I traced my line, same thing again. So you do the same thing you do for the bottom. Traced it in my holes. Now something. Now, got it lined up like so. Take my wood glue. Flip it up. Make sure my marks are all lined up. Put my glue on it. There we go. Just like so. Now, 2 more long screws. So, there we go. Countersink them right in. Like so. There it is. Okay. That's my first one. There we go. Got it. As you see, got there. All done. Top and bottom. As you can see, I got them all ready to go. If you notice, they seem a little shorter because after a while, the more I looked at them, 6 inches is way too tall. I was really concerned about that. So I knocked them down to 4, which is, they're still pretty good platforms. Now I got these guys done. They're glued, screwed in from the top and the bottom. I have my boot ready to be mounted. And now, I'm going to mount this boot. How am I going to go about this is, okay. Now we have the boot on here. What we're going to do, to line it up, you got to open up the shoe really good and line it up because we're going to go inside the sole. We're going to screw into them, and that's why you're going to want to get a screw right here, and you want to get a washer. Because if you just throw a screw in there directly, eventually they'll pull out. To prevent that from happening, you want to get a washer, like so. Put a screw through it. Save your screw in your washer. Because what's going to happen when it goes in, it'll sink in there and it'll sink that sole and hold it in there. So you got to do that. Because if you just do a screw, it will pull out. So you want to make sure when you're drilling this in, you got to make sure you sink it in deep because you don't want it to touch the person's foot. So once you screw these, you're definitely going to have to put insoles in here. But let's go ahead and screw these in first. Well, I discovered while drilling, the heel has a metal plate in it. So the very heel of the boot back here has a plate. So what I had to do is I had to do 2 screws off the side, a little lower, about right here, and that works fine. So, and I had the 2 screws, and there, I don't know if you can see them in there. There's 2 screws off the side, as long as it's mounted to the wood. That's what I really wanted. So now, what you do next is, as you can see, I put holes in there. See where the boot curls up? You don't want to screw this down because it's a natural curl of the feet. So I put a hole. This is kind of here, but I realized it's too hot. See where it's contacting the wood? Where this is? That's what you want. So where it's contacting, that's where I'm going to put my screws here. And same over here. Drill a hole so I can contact here. And then what I'm going to do is go back in here and put some foam in here just to fill in the gap. But right now these are contact points. So I put holes there so I can drill into them. Line this guy up. Like so. Okay. Make sure it's nice and sunk in. Alright. Other side. Right. There they are. All done. Got them screwed, bolted. And as you can see, like I said, for this gap, we'll get to that later. Got this hole, but now the bottom, it's just flat, smooth wood. So if you're gonna definitely want to put something in the bottom of this, and I have some tread we're gonna do. So let me show you how we're gonna do that. Ta-da! There they are. They're done. Now for the next step, all mounted, ready to go. The bottom of these things are just smooth wood, and like any shoes, you want some traction on these things so you don't slip and fall. I'm going to show you how we're going to go about doing that. What I've gotten here, this is kind of like a plastic liner. Some people use it for their toolboxes. You can find this at hardware stores and whatnot. Some have different textures and patterns. I like this. It's got, if you see, it's got a little bit of a ribbing to it, kind of like the bottom of a shoe. But also, you don't have to use this. If you're going to be walking around at cons where there's going to be a lot of like tile flooring and whatnot, you can actually use really thick neoprene rubber. That always comes in handy. So, but right now for me, I'm going to use this hard plastic. But I need to make a template. So what I do is I've taken my shoe template, what you see right here. And back in the old days, I used to just cut this out and glue it on. What I discovered though is after a while, if you're walking around, nothing gets more wear than shoes. So this will start to snag and peel. So what I've discovered is I make a new template with tabs on it. As you can see right here, I've done this, and you have tabs. And what you do, when you cut this out, you'll have tabs that you can overlap and staple and nail down. So when you're walking around and the wear and tear on it, you won't just have glue helping you, but these tabs will also hold them on too. So now I got that done. I've taken my silver Sharpie and transferred, as you can see right here, I trace them onto my, so what I do is I know the lines are going this way, so I kind of line them up nice and straight. You see right here. So now, let's go ahead and cut these guys out. With my trusty X-ACTO knife. Alright, now I have my tabs cut out. So what I'm going to do, as usual, my good old trusty Barge Cement. Now the Barge is going to be just a stabilizer, but I don't, back in the days I used to rely on this, but Barge is good to hold it down as an extra support, but what's really going to hold this is the tabs. So make sure we get that all glued up and ready to go. Now for the wood soles. Put my Barge on this bad boy here. Once again, this is to really help line everything up. It's all in there, nice and good. There you go. Just one thin coat. Okay. I have my 2 coats of wood. I have this one. Another good thing, when you see it kind of shiny, but when you touch it, and the glue doesn't come off on your fingers, see? It's not coming off your fingers. That's when you know you're good to go. It's a little shiny, but it's not sticking to your fingers. You're good to go on the Barge. So, got this all dry, ready to go. And I'm going to line this guy up, like so. One thing with Barge Cement, once you line this up and stick it down, it does not want to come back off. So you got to make sure you get it nice and lined up, very carefully. like so. There you go. There it is. See, now I got it stuck on there really good. Now I have my tabs, which are great. You come to think of it, I have these tabs on here. Let's barge the edges here too, so I can help stick these guys down. So we have not done that. So I barged this whole thing. Let's barge these guys as well too. Brush the wood in the barge. This guy too. What this does will help me stick it and hold it in place, because hold it in place while you staple it, which comes in handy. So let's do that. Push him up. There we go. See, that's good. It holds it in place. And trust me, you're definitely going to be glad you did this, because nothing takes more beat and wear than gloves and feet. That's it. Now they have these. This is where I come in with the trusty staple gun. Line this guy up like so. Boom. See, it staples in there. That is not coming out. So I'm going to do this all the way around. There we go. Okay. Sometimes I like to go back in with a hammer just to make sure they stay in there nice and good. Ta-da! Have them all done. The boots are mounted. On the bottom we have soles. And once again, the plastic sole I got at a hardware store. You don't have to use plastic sole, but you can use either thick rubber neoprene, but something really dense, because if you're going to be at a con, most floors have tile flooring. And you want to have something rubber to grip, because you're walking around and you slip and you twist your ankle at a con, and guess what? You're out of the con for the rest of the week with a twisted ankle. You don't want that. Also, when you're buying these shoes, guys, make sure you get boots that lace up and give you ankle support. Anything with platforms, you want ankle support. Don't be putting them on tennis shoes or slip-on shoes. You need ankle support. It's very important. So it's all mounted, ready to go. And now we're going to fabricate on top of them. But we're not going to do it today. We're going to do it part 2 on how to build cosplay platform shoes right here on the Evil Ted channel.